Why, hello, everyone. If this is working, we are recording. We probably are. It's the Friday/Saturday Sports Algorithm Podcast. It's 8:23 a.m. And I, I mean, that I want to go over sports. I was thinking about this, like, how can we do this in a healthy way? Because there certainly is a healthy amount of enjoyment when it comes to watching sports and stuff. And then there's an unhealthy amount where you're trying to think of it as like a job, which I was trying to do over November. For the month of November, I did a video every day about all the sports, and I tried to do it as updated as much as possible to get as accurate as possible, which involved a lot of monitoring and a lot of time dedication. And when doing that, it caused me just way too much anxiety, right? So I realized that doing it in that way, like really trying to make it a job, like your profession to be sports betting, sounds like very, very nerve-wracking way to do it simply because of the random element of things. However, passively doing it and passively having access to this information, which is the algorithm and automatic harnessing of current statistics, like this thing is totally repeatable. And I send out versions and do videos to show how like easy it is to update this and for you to have access to this. I'm not doing anything special after it's been created other than pasting in stats of stuff, right? But doing that takes time, and also verifying that that information is accurate takes time. So all those things being said, I want to get into the podcast and talk about Friday's results. And the only thing going on Saturday, which I believe is only NFL, and we'll update NFL. But I wanted to preface that by saying, hey, I'm going to wake up every morning, and I don't know what happened last night. I didn't pay attention. I fell asleep. I like woke up and checked my phone, something, and I saw I basically lost a tiny bit of money today on like $150 I wagered today. I have like 112 in my account now. So I lost a little bit. But I noticed it was really interesting, and I'm going to talk about what happened and how I can enjoy this at a passive level by just spending a half hour in the morning to prepare stuff for everybody who wants it or not wants it. Like I can just prepare it, be done with it, and it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to yield information that's valuable to people. So I know, long-winded. It's a podcast, like we're talking today, but we're going to get it done. So yesterday I did this, which looks insane. This was my hockey wager. I did a hockey and I did a basketball and NBA with Pepperdine and college basketball, which I'll talk about in a second. So I did this wager, and let's see, this lost, right? Yeah, that game went over. Carolina did score more than 3.5 goals. Let's see what happened. I know I won something, but I thought I was going to win money, and then at the end it blew it. Let's see here. Washington and Winnipeg was not a tie. I don't know why I just didn't bet Washington. This was crazy. I like doing crazy stuff because of the lines, but this stuff was too crazy. The Islanders did win 5-1, and that won at plus 320. Dallas did score over 3.5 goals. That one. This was ridiculous. Although I kind of understand why I bet the tie in this game. But Chicago won. Edmonton did not win under 4.5. I think they lost. Kings lost in overtime. So this game was a tie. This game did end in a tie, barely, with a late goal by Vegas. So this one. And look at this. Look at us winning all the way down here at the end, except it was, who didn't win? What happened? Calgary must have won. Actually, I don't know. I didn't watch that. I fell asleep. So let's do it right now. Let's finish this. Let's do NHL real quick because we're just going to go over the scores. Football will be the last thing I talk about in this video because there are like this is like a pretend Sunday. This is the day before Christmas. There's a bunch of football starting at 1 p.m. So that's going to be the talk of the video. That's going to start at the end. I'm going to wait till I get through everything else and then start that at the end. So fast forward if you want to see football. It's happening way at the end of this video. It'll probably be the last 10 minutes of the video though. Anyway, what happened in hockey? Well, let's look at some scores. I'm pretty sure the algorithm did pretty good. Boston wins 4-3. So that was Boston, and the over would have won that. Winnipeg loses. I heard about this. Even people close to me sent me YouTube videos of Ovechkin scoring goals last night, and the empty net discussion is something I will have for another day. I'll actually do a live video where we take shots at empty nets with baby scraps, and we'll talk about empty net goals and whether or not I mean, there's an argument to be made, and we could do this with stats, that we could take every one of his empty net goals and take every one of Gordie Howe's empty net goals and subtract them from their total, or every one of Wayne Gretzky's empty net goals and subtract it from the total. And you get a true, what is called a goalie goal score, when you scored on a goaltender versus when you scored on a net pulled. And I would argue that is also a record. Number of goals scored against goaltenders is technically a measurable record, unless they weren't keeping track of empty net goals back when Gordie Howe was playing and all those games weren't televised. But I think the answer is they have records of all of those goals, most likely. And there is a way to classify empty net, probably. Some Canadian will do some research to find out the answer to that question. So I think that in today's podcast, we have, and I will title the video of this podcast related to this. I will try to get the answer, actually. I'll try to get wait a minute. Just ask Google. This is what like Chat GPT and Google and stuff are supposed to do, is they're supposed to answer questions. Hold on a second. Vancouver beat Edmonton 5-2. Edmonton knows how to lose some games. Apparently so does Arizona. So St. Louis loses that game after Vegas comes back and ties it up. Calgary wins in OT. So I actually lost that pick because they didn't win in regulation. This is why this is such a tough bet. But we are going to ask Google about empty net goals for Ovechkin in a second, because I want to know the answer. Let's see here. So here, Calgary did lose. Did Colorado win under 5.5? Is that what happened? Let's see here. We're almost done. Then I want to ask Google that really important question. How did Philly get to 5 goals? I know I got a text from my buddy who was like, I bet Carolina -1.5. What the hell? Yeah, I don't know. What the hell, right? What happened there? Florida loses 5-1. Colorado wins 3-2 in overtime. So this also loses. Oh, my picks were terrible. Dallas wins 4-2. It's 2-5. And now, after we refresh, we are going to ask Google. How many empty net goals does Alex Ovechkin have? Career.
53 empty net goals. According to CBS,
that was as December 11th. So he's probably got like 55 or 56.
Just one of many Gretzky milestones Ovechkin aims to surpass on his quest to be the all-time goal-scoring leader.
Okay, so Gretzky, this is very interesting. So Gretzky only ended up with like 56. So he's probably tied Gretzky already or something in empty net goals. We'll look that up as Google gets more current. How many empty net goals did Gordie Howe have career? Okay, there is a question. Gordie Howe had 12 empty net goals in his career. Okay, everybody. Let's do some real math here. Basically, I would argue there is absolutely an argument to be made. It's not even an argument, it's a fact. You know what the fact is? The fact is Alex Ovechkin has passed Gordie Howe when it comes to total goals. Alex Ovechkin is probably 41 goals behind Gordie Howe when it comes to goaltender goals. Now let's all understand that goaltenders kind of stood up and didn't play the way that they used to play back in the day. And they were kind of, even in Gretzky's day at the beginning, goaltenders were still like doing the splits involved them just like moving their leg a little bit, shuffle it to the left. So they weren't all at butterflying like they are today. So it's more difficult to score today. That is true. But Gordie Howe had 40 some more goals, it looks like currently still. So I will have to, not really tongue in cheek, that is accurate, because it answers the question about, well, is Ovechkin's record valid? And it is valid, but it's also people dumping him the puck every time to score empty net goals so that his nominal total is higher. And there's another nominal total that you can't fake, and it's the number of goals you scored on goaltenders. And my understanding is that number for Gordie Howe, based on the question we answered, was like 801 minus 12. So it's 799, I believe, is how many goaltender goals he scored. And Ovechkin now at 802 minus what, 55 or 56 empty net goals, puts Ovechkin back at like 748 or something. So Gordie Howe's still like 40 goals ahead or something about. I think that's true. So wow. That's kind of funny. I like that. Plus it gives Ovechkin another number to try to get to. So I think that we should all follow that number. We should put some value into the scored on goaltender goals because it's a different thing. I've talked way too long about that, but it is relevant because we're talking about somebody catching goal scorers. And Gretzky, however, had 50 something. You could see how Gretzky's were, they kept pulling the goalie more on Gretzky's day. And he also probably got fed the puck later in his career to pad his goal total. So it's a more accurate comparison up against Gretzky. But even now, Ovechkin is just like based on the sequence I saw on YouTube, it was something like everybody didn't want to score the goal until they gave it to Ovechkin to shoot at the empty net. It only counts if Ovechkin scores it, which is putting the player above the team, but it's funny and it is funny to watch and I like it. All right. How did we do? I guess we did okay. I don't even care anymore. That was my hockey talk. All right, so we're done with hockey at that. That's our timestamp for hockey. That's also our timestamp for this bet. And that's why I didn't win money on this ticket that much. I see. Okay. So I had that. I also, so I lost half my money, but I lost a lot of games really close, which is what you're asking for, but you're also getting crazy good payouts if you catch them. So that's intriguing. I'm going to get out of this file and I'm not going to simulate. Actually, we could simulate NFL today. Never mind. I'm not getting out of this file. Let's go to college basketball real quick because it was a rather fast day. And I'm pretty sure I can get scores quickly. And I also want to check in on if there are games today. I think there might be a couple or there might not be any. I'm pretty sure it's one of the two. Tomorrow, I think, has like 4 games in some weird way. They're making the kids play on Christmas. All right, so scores from the 23rd. We've got a Coppin State losing a lot. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Yeah, that's right. And then Iona beat Seattle and they barely covered, tied covered, pushed or something. Kennesaw 55-69. Southern Methodist 77-74, GW 70-81. Look at this. I bet this because this was a reasonable line. I bet Pepperdine to win at -160 on my round robin, and they did win. College basketball continues to impress. So what happened yesterday? Let's open this up. 5 in one day. No, we don't go perfect because Utah State loses at -950 with no injuries, huh? Did we get that right? Did Utah State really lose? Yeah. Southern Methodist pulls it off. They were a good team. It's just clean upset. Just maybe it's a tournament. It's probably a tournament game, not a true home game. I'm sure all of these are, right? Or almost all of them. So that's that. There are no games today. So point is there was a decent line, and did I talk about it in a video? I don't think I did a video on this day because I didn't do it till late. But these guys were injured, and Pepperdine was just a good pick. So I took it and they won. All right. So college basketball just wins. How about NBA? NBA also did pretty well today. This is the look I have as of when I updated the injury report at some point throughout the day. I can't remember when. But I'm not going to do it again. What were the NBA scores? Because there were a ton of games, right? Well, so I took San Antonio +6 because I'm bad at betting. And I shouldn't have, because you don't want to take a team that's supposed to get crushed, even plus only 6 points. That's just a bad bet. That was a wasted bet. I took the Sixers to win. And they won. Minnesota-Boston, I did not bet that game. Toronto and Cleveland, I took Cleveland and lost. That was another one of the losses, but the losses were few and far between. I stayed away from the Knicks because the lines wasn't good. And look at the Bulls winning. Detroit and Atlanta, I took Atlanta to win, maybe? At a bad line on the round robin, I think, and they won. Maybe, maybe not. I can't remember if I took it or not. Milwaukee and Brooklyn, I took Brooklyn to win, and they won. Yep. Miami. I don't have the round robin or record, but I know I won some money on this one. I can figure it out by my balance. So what else we got here? Indianapolis 111, 108. New Orleans Pelicans 128 to 125. Dallas. So many games. This is a lot of NBA games, but they just got them all out of the way, right? Let's do Portland, Denver here. 107, 120. Memphis 125. I think I bet Memphis and they won. Pretty sure about that. Washington beat Sacramento. Did I somehow not back us? Sacramento was at a terrible line. Wait till you see that line. Oh, I bet the Lakers and they lost. That's why I didn't win more money on that ticket. And where's the Dallas game? Dallas 112, 106. Don't know what I did there. So what happened yesterday? Goes 8-6, 7-7. But top down by projected margin of victory does okay. What order did the odds? See, the odds makers had Sacramento higher than us. So the odds makers had this as the third best pick of the day and it lost, right? This is the way the odds makers look is. Descending by, or I should say ascending by line. So they lose the top, they lose the heat also. And our version is this version. We do descending by projected margin of victory because we think our projected scores are better than they're certainly better than anything else. Hopefully. NBA not so much as NFL or even college basketball, but still we use them because they're there for a reason. So like Memphis beats a really injured Phoenix. That was one that was pretty obvious. Were any of these teams hurting? Not really. These are just straight up upsets right before Christmas. Cleveland hurt. I like the line on Cleveland. But then the rest of that stuff is way down here where we have like the Heat way down here, which said take the Pacers plus the points, right? Because you got 6.5. Not only that, they win the game. So when you see stuff in this order, it's kind of like, all right, it's bettable the other way around. So that's an okay day for NBA. So we're done with NBA. So what are we doing then? We're doing NFL. And we're going to craft a round robin because I have, I believe, $122 in my account because somehow on those picks that I just told you, because I won Pepperdine and I went like 5-3 on 8 teams or something and got probably $70 back on a $50 bet or something like that. I can't remember. It won a little bit. So let's talk about what we're going to do for NFL. So let's open up everything. Now you're looking at the way that I like to sort this is also by projected margin of victory. I mean, we are predicting scores here is what we're doing. And I mean, that's what I do with these things is it predict scores. So win scores above 0. No, not win scores. You want projected margin of victory above 0. There we go. This will show just the picks it says to take. All right. Thursday night game at 1. It said take Jacksonville winning 25-21, 17-3. Now we got a weird problem this week. We got a weather problem. And so when I was thinking about what's going on today, I was like, well, if I was really going to care and pay attention, first of all, I'd wait till these games start before I would make my bet. I'd actually want to make a live bet in the middle of the first quarter on all these games. And here's what we have for Saturday. Guess what? We're not updated with an injury report yet, folks. I haven't done crap. I haven't even updated. I haven't done anything. Let's update lines. Let's do this right now. I mean, there's only one sport going on today that I know of in America in the cold right before Christmas, and it's NFL. And at least the NFL said, hey, we're going to give you entertainment. We're going to make these poor people play in negative 8,500 degree weather to, in the middle of Cleveland, Idaho, or whatever, in some city, Pittsburgh, Evelyn, Cantona, Detroit, Ohio, is where they're playing these games in the middle of the snow, middle of the cold weather. It's awful. I feel so bad. I don't care how many blankets or huge coats or something or heaters they got. It still sucks when you got to be out there. I don't know how you're throwing a ball at -8 or whatever weather we're going to deal with. So where are these games? What's going on? You got to answer this question weather-wise. because that's why you're seeing like unbelievable over-unders. So this starts right here. All right, so we have now, I just put in new lines. Let's also do the injury report because it's the only thing generally, unless we do some roster adjustments, which we could. I mean, I could make this a long video. It's only 8:43. I was willing to go another 17 minutes. And it's all that we can talk about. So I might do that. I might make another cup of coffee and do that. So what we need is we need the injury report. And we get the injury report. We are going to bring that in. It's also going to retroactively change the score of the Jacksonville Jets game based on who got injured in that game. That game, I only remember seeing a headline that said something like the Jets, don't perform when they need to in a really wet and ugly day. The weather of the day seemed to be an impactful mention in the headline, and I suspect that was an impactful factor in the game, as weather obviously is, especially when it comes to things like scoring. Maybe not necessarily so much better team, because a team with a better run game traditionally in weather, I guess, where you have to run more, has a better chance of winning anyway, but the points are going to be all screwed up. So we just brought in current injury report here as of Saturday morning. And now if we refresh this, I want to show every day, by the way. If we refresh this, let's see what happened to the Jet score. It now goes to, where's the Jacksonville game? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Okay. Oh, now all of a sudden the Jets are favored. So after injuries, it actually would have favored the Jets, whoever's playing. It'd be crazy. See how that happens? It's so weird. It switches. It gave the Jets another touchdown because somebody got healthy or something, probably. Since the game, it didn't play in the game. It's weird. Weird. That's why I kind of like to freeze them, right? Don't we want to go back and we really want to freeze that? So let me explain how we freeze that. So the week that we're working with here in the cube is we're not going to freeze it though, but I can show you how we could. So we're working with this area right here right now. This is week 16. And assuming we have dates right, which I believe we do, we can start to order this thing appropriately. Filter. See if that works. Trying to put everything in order. Yeah, here's now the Jets game. The Jacksonville Jets game got frozen now right up here. It's the start of week 16. And we have a score of that game, a projected total score. Now, in general, we start to like to freeze this information because it's formulas currently, but we want to turn it into values. So the values, it was actually 25-21 was the original projection before Thursday night, before the injury report just changed this, because these numbers are formulated here. So I just changed it. And now what'll happen is when we go back, I didn't just sneakily, change scores on everybody, but it was 25-21. So we're trying to get it back to what it was. So we go back to the picks, and a game that was right here at 22-21 is going to flip. And the whole list flips because now all of a sudden Jacksonville goes right here instead. So it's important to freeze stuff in history if you want an accurate depiction, but it's also really difficult, frustrating, and annoying to remember to do that all the time. So there you go. Because injury report does change things. Speaking of injury reports changing things, it's now Sunday. What do you do here? And we're going to get to that question about, I don't care about any of this yet because we're not going to worry about it. We're not going to worry about actual total points yet. We're not going to worry about final projections or final results because it didn't happen yet. We're going to look at the games. So there are a ton of games. Like I said, the NFL turned this day into a Sunday for everybody. It's kind of fun. Take some more coffee while we do this. Because I feel like it. So what do we do here today? Well, I'm gonna make the wager on my phone at the same time because I'm willing to have fun with, I believe, $122 I have in there. And even though here's what I'll do. I'll be smart with it. I'm not gonna bet it all on this round robin. I'm gonna bet half of it on this round robin. And then I'm gonna bet the other $60 or whatever when the first quarter of the 1 o'clock game start. And I'll explain why that is because we're going to talk about I have $112.62 in my account. So I will bet 60 some dollars on this round robin that we're going to do right now as we have some coffee. Now, what's available, right? So it is only football today. And you want to look at this. I like to look at this instead of looking at the order of the games that comes out on the app or whatever you're betting, because you want to not chase what's thrown at you. You want to bet on what you want to bet on based on what the algorithm says, right? And it's funny because I normally don't like a team like Detroit, but it says bet Detroit to win. It says Detroit wins a high scoring game. This game's in Carolina. What is the weather in Carolina? What's the weather at the Carolina Panthers Stadium right now, Google? It is currently 11 freaking degrees. I know this because I'm in Virginia and it's 7 degrees outside. And it hits you, and it was blowing wind yesterday, and it was a pain in the butt. Now, what do we say about cold weather? What do we think about it? Well, common consensus is cold weather going to lead to lower scoring games simply because it's cold. Stuff slows down. It's what physics does to you is it makes those atoms vibrate a little bit less, fluctuate a little bit less, jittery. Like they're not all the time. They're slowed down because stuff gets cold. Absolute zero Kelvin, a theoretical number where all movement stops, right? So cold is going to slow stuff down. Are all these games in cold places is the question. How do we answer this in the algorithm? We filter this thing for just home teams. That's what I'm doing. Where are all these games? These games are in Kansas City. I'm guessing it's cold. Pittsburgh. Oh boy, it's cold. San Francisco, and maybe not as cold. Maybe a reasonable scoring game there. Baltimore, cold as hell. Tennessee, I think it's cold. Cleveland, I'm sure it's cold. Minnesota's in a dome, right? So they're lucky. Dallas, dome? Yeah, they'll put the roof on if it's cold, right? That's going to be doming. Patriots, cold as hell. Carolina, cold. Chicago's outside, right? Cold. Right? Are the Bears play outdoors? I'm pretty sure the Bears play in an outdoor stadium. Do the Bears play in an outdoor stadium, Google? Of course they do. Google should be like, shut up, Ken. You should know that. Arlington Park, Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears stadium roof. Bears will have enclosed stadium in Arlington Heights when? What is this? Does the Chicago Bears stadium have a roof? No, there's a plan. There's a plan, but there ain't no roof. That means it's cold. Okay, now that we know that 80% of the games, the only games that you can expect reasonable scoring are going to be these games. I think Tennessee's outside too. I'm just going to assume they are. And this game. There's only 3 of them that are at a true magnifier of 5. So let's go over our wagers on those games first, and then we're going to have some fun with the magnifier because every one of those other games is at 1 degree Kelvin. So let's see. All right. Well, Niners are supposed to beat the Commanders by 2. This is a 6.5 and not a 7 line. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I screwed up betting for everyone. That's what I did by doing a video saying take the Commanders plus 7. Is now it's not a touchdown. Do the Niners need to win and they're hurt? I mean, there's a part of me that says, hey, why don't we just root for the Commanders to win this game? They could win. They probably won't, but they could. And I'm going to look at standings for a second because you want to get great lines. Like you want to do this right because then you can win some money even when you don't have you don't go 9-0 or however many games there are today. How many games are there today actually in total? There are supposedly, if I have the schedule right, there are 11 games. Look, let me double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, ending with Pittsburgh and the Raiders in the at night and cold. Wow. Okay. Oh man. Okay. So you want to win, but you also want to get paid. I'm going to take the Steelers to win at minus 134. I'm just looking at my phone right now because there's a couple things on here that I don't want to mess with over unders. I just want to do winners. That's another thing is we could not worry about the points. Yeah, we can do this for winners because for winners, it doesn't matter what the weather is. It just matters for points. So let's talk about winners for everybody. So in order, the algorithm says take the Chiefs to beat the Seahawks. Of course, it's going to be cold though. So points are a question mark. So something like Seattle plus 10 is almost a good idea because it's super cold, right? But nobody wants to do that. But that's actually kind of a smart bet because 10 points is a lot. And Seattle's used to sort of bad weather. The over-under is still set at 50. Really? How cold is it in Kansas City right now? Let me look at that. Actually, hold on a second. Weather at Kansas City Chiefs Stadium. It's 4 degrees. It's 4 degrees. Oh my God. It's 4 degrees. The over-under is still set at 50? Really? Honestly, that's better. Here's why. Magnifier 4 degrees is supposed to bring this down below a level of 3.5, below actually almost 3. So this game says 33 points. Yeah. So given that, if that is, I'm gonna look up, is that a bet? I mean, it would be the same game parlay would be the Chiefs and the under, basically. But the under is really, really solid. So I'm gonna look at that on the phone right here and see if that's my bet. It's actually in Kansas City, right? So they're not playing a game in London or something like that's a true game in Kansas City, right? I'm looking for that game on my phone here. So that game is a 1 o'clock game, under 49 and a half. All right, so here's what I'm going to do to try to get paid. And I'll explain. Is I'm going on the assumption that this is that the games that are going to be really low scoring because of cold, which are we're going to remove San Francisco, we're going to remove Minnesota, we're going to remove Dallas. All the other games are in the cold here. Yep, I believe Tennessee's outside. So yeah, that yields this. So when you're looking at over-unders, you see that the Chiefs one is not adjusted. They think the Chiefs are going to do it in 4-degree weather. Jeez, really? That doesn't that seem ridiculous? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an under. I'm going to hope the algorithm gets it exactly right. So I'm opening up the game and I'm doing alternate total points. And I'm scrolling and I'm seeing that I think this game can actually be under 34 something points. So the under 34 is blocked out. That's funny. But the under 36 is at under 36 and a half is plus 600. So I'm taking that. Taking a really low scoring game because of cold. I'm going on gut instinct. So you know it's going to lose. So we've got Steelers. I'm looking at what my phone says in terms of my ticket. Steelers at minus 134. I'm taking under 36 and a half KC versus Seattle. It's totally on weather at plus 600. What else we got? I think I have to take Detroit, right? What am I filtering for? Open everything up. The margin of victory is greater than 0. Get us back to our look. So these are the games at 3.5 magnifier, by the way. So we're looking at those games that I believe, do I have them highlighted? Yeah, it screws that filter up. So that's why I had to reset everything. It's annoying. All right, it's complicated what just happened, but like this game is only 22-11. So you got some value in the under there, even though the line's not good. It shows you if you bring this down to 3 for all these really cold games, Then you get 19 to 10. So it's going to be, it makes sense, right? That it's a day of unders where weather's really bad if you've got a high under number. Not like the one that was 32. Where was the one that was 32? Was it the Cleveland game? One of them was set at 32. It's still set at 32 and a half. It's this one. And that's because it has this game as 13-13. That's funny. That's so funny. Oh man. What a mess. That game is a mess. Can you bet a regulation tie? Let's see. Let me look on my phone. If I can bet a regulation tie in that Cleveland New Orleans game, I will. Let's look. I don't know if that's available. I bet you it is though. All right, that game under more, because it happened last week with somebody tied to it, said it was going to tie. All right, there's correct score. There's pass. Correct scores in there. Will there be overtime is the question. Yes, 9-20. Love it. That's something to root for. In a game that's so cold and maybe nobody will score, maybe it'll end in a tie. Love it. Will there be OT Cleveland versus New Orleans at 9-20? Watch what that does to our wagers. I hit a couple 890s in college basketball earlier this week to win $4,000. You can hit these. These things do happen. May not happen today, but it does happen. All right, so that's a crazy wager. What else we got? I'm supposed to take Detroit to win. I'm going to listen to the algorithm because I trust the algorithm. Notice that we're mixing things that are really incredible lines with things that are not great lines, but that the algorithm says really win. And so we're trying to do a balance because I've noticed that my biggest winning tickets, except for that one I won early this week, which it had I don't think it had hardly any underdogs or it didn't have any favorites on it. But I have noticed in general that this is a nice balance because you're not going to hit every crazy underdog. Not every game's going to end in a tie that you want to have in the tie. So you've got to do something more balanced. And so I'm looking for, well, what does the algorithm say is going to happen? It says these teams win. What about Buffalo? Do I take them just to win? Given that this over-under is only 40, that's not really like what magnifier do we hit that 40? And a magnifier of 4.5, which is actually a reasonable magnifier. What's the weather at the Bears Stadium right now? What's the weather at the Bears Stadium right now, Google? Google say, Chicago Bears fans asked to bundle up with Arctic weather and forecast. That's all I need to know. Boy, it really wants me to say that this magnifier is lower, right? Because this is the traditional raw magnifier of 5 that we've been using. It's been doing pretty good. It would say that Buffalo pours it on. Do they pour it on in the cold, or is this slow warmed out? I mean, I think that because the Buffalo is supposed to win, and we're doing 11 picks, so we really got to win more. Minus 390 is almost acceptable. I don't think they want to blow this game, right? Don't they need to win still? Like, I don't know what position they're in. Let's look. Just want to make sure they really need to win. Because I'm willing to put them on there to win. You're not supposed to turn away. Yeah, they're 11-3. Do they need to win? I think they need to win. Does Philly need to win? No, Philly does not need to win because they already have a loss and they're at 13. That's why Dallas gets a favorable line. I think Buffalo still needs to iron this out. I do not think they can really want to lose this game for home field advantage purposes, right? And stuff like that. I think they do need to win. So because of that, I'm willing to pay $3.90, which is what it is on my phone. Oh man, actually, sorry. I want to do a no. I'm just gonna take it. Shut up, Kenny. You're supposed to just take it because what happens is tomorrow. I'm like, oh, see what happened? We had the top, we won 5 out of the top 6 games. I'm gonna say something like that, and I'm gonna be like, why didn't I bet these to win? And it's because I would have talked myself out of that. So they might lose, but they're supposed to win, so we're gonna take them. The Chiefs game, we did our crazy alternate under. Detroit, we took to win. Cincinnati and the Patriots. Let's get back down to our magnifier of 3.5 now to get a more realistic score of this game, I think. 18-15 Cincinnati. Cincinnati's minus 155. Cincinnati's away, but this is yeah. Cincinnati a better team. Does Cincinnati need to win? It looks so, right? Same thing for when it comes to these are winnable. This is the time of year where you're gonna try to win. So I'm comfortable because algorithm says Cincinnati. I don't want to say the L word, but I'm taking a favorite of them minus 164. Okay. Cincy is minus 164. Right, Bengals. And then the Bills, whatever, spell wrong, but we don't care. Bills, and they're not, it's not the Bulls, it's going to be the Bills. I'm trying to type around my coffee. Are minus 390. We're at Butterfingers this morning. The Bengals are going to be minus 164. We're up to 6 picks. What else we got on the list? There's a lot of things coming together that are kind of pointing toward predictable outcomes in this week because a lot of these teams should want to win and weather's going to do some weird things. We're going to stay away from the Commanders Niners for a second. This game also has not weather impacted as much. I want to look at the other weather ones because you already bet the tie in this game. It's a tie at whatever magnifier it is. That's why I bet the tie. Tennessee barely beats Houston. Barely. Oh yeah, what's the weather at Tennessee? Because I don't know their stone. What's the weather at Tennessee Titans Stadium? Google. It's 9 degrees. Yeah, I'm properly, I think, accounting for the magnifier stuff. So in that sense, you've once again got a ridiculously low over under because the odds makers are kind of trying to be unreasonable. They're trying to do something like this. No, actually, they only went down to 4.5. They were too scared to move the magnifier as much as I want to. Yeah, they moved it to here. And I'm saying move it to here. And I'm probably going to be right about that. Because I remember historically they don't know. Because this looks crazy. Like you can't go to your boss and be like, oh, well, I only think there's going to be 29 points in the Commanders game. Well, actually, you don't because the weather's bad here. So you have to mix the two. But let's talk about this Titans game for a second. So assume cold weather. So now all of a sudden they don't cover and it's this like field goal on field goal game, right? Which ends up being really, really low. The over-under set low. I'm talking myself out of the over-under, but how about Titans and the under same game parlay bet? How about that? Because that's what it says really happens in this game. You might lose it, but you also might lose the Titans not winning this game somehow because it's so low scoring, but I don't want to put money on Houston. So, however, I am looking at the same game. It's called the line and game parlay or whatever. Let's see here. There's money line and total points parlay. And they're giving you 38.5 there. So that's great. So I'm going to take the Titans and under 38.5. It's plus 165. So they're going to get a positive line on something. And even though I got to get 2 outcomes, which is not easy, it's Titans and under because of the weather being chilly as heck. I'm willing to throw because they didn't want to just take the Titans at minus 170 in such a close game. So we're at least putting something on there that pays a little more. And we'll see how we do with it. Next. We didn't do Ravens and Falcons. I'm telling you, it's cold as balls in the DMV right now, where Baltimore's playing. So this game is supposed to be super low scoring. Lamar's chilly. He's like, I like to play, but man, it's cold, right? Although we've been it. So it's saying, once again, over under almost unbettable. Baltimore unbettable. 6.5 being really good value for Atlanta because it's so cold. Awful game to bet here. I hate this game. Oh man, I'll probably be watching this game with people that are cheering. I mean, there's gonna be a lot going on today. I'm stumped what to do here because it makes the algorithm's making you want to take Atlanta plus some points. And I don't want to do that. And that's why it's there. And so I'm just going to skip over the game because I can't, I could say under, alternate under. All right. I will do that. Knowing how cold it is, right? Here's what we're going to do. It's a perfect transition. Let's assume the magnifier is a true 5 for every game, and I am completely wrong about the weather affecting the game. That gives the Baltimore game. We got to resort here. Sending by margin of victory. It's a Baltimore game down here at an 18-17 game. It gives them exactly 35 points, right? Well, call that a 2017 game or something because of an extra field goal. Make it 37. What I will do is I'll do an alternate under where I put the points higher, put the points above. Like I'm putting the points in this game at what would happen if the weather wasn't a factor. Okay. Because it's already moved to 34.5. I'm going to go all the way up to alternate total points are, oh, it's frozen. No, it's there. Hold on. I'm going to go alternate total points below 38.5 is minus 200. Now, this is a terrible game to bet. I'm just not going to bet the game, guys. Sorry. I cannot find a good thing to bet there. I don't want to take Atlanta, and I don't like anything there. So I'm just going to skip it. All right. So let's talk about the other games that are not in terrible weather conditions. Eagles, Cowboys. What to be done in this game? The Eagles, the variable you're looking at here is maybe the Eagles don't necessarily need to play because they're won so much. And Dallas probably does. The line is moved to Eagles plus 4.5. The weather in Dallas is going to be okay, right? What's the weather at Dallas Cowboys Stadium? Do they have a dome? 23, but they have a dome, right? Let's ask. Does AT&T Stadium in Dallas have a dome?
According to Library of Congress, completed on May 27, 2009.
Yeah, so they're going to put the dome up, right? So I think it's not going to be cold. I gotta ask. How do you ask? What are they doing for the dome at the Dallas Stadium? Are they putting the dome up for today's football game in Dallas? I'm just gonna say yes. I'll stop arguing with reality. I'm sure they are. So this is potential for points. Does the fact that the Eagles might not have to try, does that mean that there will be more points in this game? Because their defense could be resting a little bit and not worry so much? Maybe. Does it mean Dallas pours it on? Do the Eagles want some respect and want to? I don't know. It's a tough call. I do see that ending in more points, right? Because when people don't care in football, that seems like that results in more points. So when crafting like a same game parlay in this game, I don't want to bet on Dallas, but I will bet a crazy alternate over of like 49.5 because it's set at 47.5. It's not crazy at 49. I'm not gonna go too crazy, but I'll bet an alternate over in this game simply because I don't know what else to bet. And I don't want to put money on a team there. I mean, it's already set pretty high. Over 49.5 is 118. Over 51.5 is plus 154. Let's try that. That's pushing the envelope just to like this. It's saying that the rest of the country is freezing, but in Dallas, they're going to have some points in a dome up. That gets you to 52.9 somehow. So over 51.5 is plus 154. So it's over 51.5, and that's at 154. So it's another good line I'm putting on there, and I'm hoping for scoring, and there's a reason why I'm going that direction in that game based on how those teams might be playing. Now you're left with Niners and Commanders and Giants and Minnesota. Both games where the margin of victory is apparently only a field goal now. 23-20 it is now for the Niners at this magnifier, right? So, well, what's the weather at San Francisco Stadium, first of all, by the way? That is outdoors. Weather at San Francisco 49ers Stadium? We went way past 9 o'clock.
According to Weather WX, partly cloudy Wednesday. Temperatures as high as 54 degrees.
Okay, it's
Fahrenheit.
okay.
Low temperature around 40.
So it's not bad, but it's still at San Francisco. So over underwise, I'm fine with this 5. You can see that that the game does go over 37.5 points. And it has the Niners winning. Do the Niners need to win? And who's playing? Garoppolo's out, right? The Niners are 10-4. I think they're in a division though where they've won already, right? Because Seattle's bad. Chargers are 8-6. Like, I don't think it's actually super imperative that they win. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I feel like it's not as important like as with Dallas or even with Buffalo. For some reason, I think they've got it locked down in the West, right? Who else is in the West? The Chiefs. Their Chiefs are 11-3. The Chiefs are already, that's exactly right. They're not trying to catch the Chiefs because they're probably not going to catch the Chiefs. But other than that, I think they're fine, right? Are they worried about Minnesota? I think it's weird. They're oddly positioned where they don't actually have to win. The Commanders, though, are not looking like they're trying to stay above 500 and have a tie. Oh my God. Very weird board. I really want to start looking at the playoff picture. So that's why the Giants do want to win at 8-5, though, desperately, right? And the Patriots really want to win. What are the Bengals doing? Bengals are 10-4. Wow, what a weekend. This is a very interesting weekend of football. So I'm going to say the Giants absolutely want to win. And I'm willing to put the money on them against Minnesota, a team with Kirk Cousins that blows games. And I don't think Minnesota needs to win, right? Yeah, they're at 11-3. They can, in an odd way, I feel like they can afford to lose because they're not catching the Eagles, is it? Or the, man, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm starting to talk myself silly. This video is too long. But I'm going to take the Giants, given that the algorithm says they win anyway. And I think they could barely are still fighting for potential playoffs in a somewhat almost reasonable scenario if they can win out. So I'm taking them to win in Minnesota. And where's that game? So that's at plus 172. So this is the Giants. A plus 170. That's a really good line. And the algorithm says they win. And then the last game is the Niners and the Commanders. And I'm erring on the side of taking the Commanders because I don't think the Niners need to win. That's where I cut off. So I'm a Commanders fan as a Washington Redskin fan. So I'm just going to, oh man, I'm supposed to take them plus 6.5. Never mind. Oh yeah, sorry. I'm not going to be stupid. I'm not going to be dumb. I'm not going to go against the algorithm because the Niners probably do need to win. Here's what I'm going to do though. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at the alternate line availability, alternate spread, as it were. And I'm going to pay the price of that plus 7.5 and not get a good line, even though I waited too long and didn't bet it before. But I'm going to take Washington plus 7.5, which is at minus 138. So I'm giving myself a touchdown leeway, which I always want to do when you can. In a game where you think your team might lose, but they're going to make it close. Give it a touchdown. I'll pay the minus 138, and if they lose by 7, I win. Instead of taking them plus 6.5 at minus 111. That's the other option, is to do this. I think this is I think so much more value in the other way around. Sorry, minus 111. I think it's so much more value to get the full touchdown, personally. So it ends up being this. So we have 10 picks. What are we going to do with our $60? Well, I always put $1 on the end. This pays $52,000. That's funny. So we're putting $1 on the end. We're going to put 10 cents here in case we really do awesome. We're willing to wager $6.50 for $100,000 if we do incredible. We hit everything. Not going to happen, but maybe. Not going to happen then. Now I start saying, well, now how many are we actually going to get right in reality? Let's assume we miss 4 of these. So let's say we have a good day and go 6-4. I would call 6-4 a good day. You can see how you get 0. You get no money back with those wagers we've already made because we only won 6 games. We didn't win 8, 9, or 10 games. if we'd won at least 8 games, like this, 7 games or 8, if we'd won 8 games, we'd start getting paid. We actually would have won a ton of money hitting 8 of these. But let's assume this game doesn't end in a tie, right? Oh, this is minus 390. Uh-oh. Hold on a second. You can see how I caught this. I was like, yeah, that was a lot of money. Now that was minus 390. All right. Hold on a second. Notice we fixed this. I would have fixed it when I checked the number, but I think we have the lines in here correct now. So now all of a sudden it's only 31,000. It's not 100,000. All right. But now let's talk about this parlay, which is a 13,000 to 1 parlay. So I'm saying, all right, well, I've got $60. I'm willing to take about 10% of my wager so far and spread it on an extremely unlikely outcome. However, the payout is immense. All right. So this is probably money that's going down the tubes, but that's okay. We're risking it in the long run. And it, something like this sort of did hit on my 6-3 day where I won the $4,000. So it does pay sometimes. Now, next, what do you do with the rest of this money? Well, you want to play the 4s. The 4s is usually a very good one. It's right at the range where you can hit usually at least 4 of these games. And when you go like 7-3 or something, the maximum payout is usually somewhere around the 4s. So I'm going to put the rest of this money on the 4s. And that is going to make for what, 40 cents or something? No, 30 cents? Yeah, about 25 will do it, right? Yeah, there you go. There's $60. So, yeah. So here's what happens. Let's assume that what happens. Let's assume we go 5-5. Instead of we're now wagering $59 to win 35,000. Let's assume we go 5-5. We lose the 5 big ones at the top. We're going to lose money. So going 5-5 on our picks, we're going to lose half, which is understandable because we're losing 5 games. What if we go 6-4? Now all of a sudden we're winning a little bit. What if we go 7-3? Now all of a sudden we've done even more. What if we catch one of these ridiculous games? Now all of a sudden we're winning some serious money. What if the Steelers win for us? It's looking really good. And what if insanely there is a tie in the Saints game? Then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I just want a Tesla. I want a Model S Tesla from like 2016 or 2014 or something. That's how much that cost with a battery that's dying, but it's still a good car. That's kind of what you're going for. All right, so let's see if this actually works. I'm going to try to make the wager because I have all these in here. And then we'll be done with this extremely long podcast video before Christmas Eve. But we've done a good job. There's a lot to be read into what you're looking at in there. 1.1.1. $59 to win 35,687, it says. So some of the lines have slightly changed, but I am pressing the bet button. And I just did. I'm going to double check and show you what my actual lines were. I want to see what moved. So the plus 600 is there. The plus 920 is there. The minus 146 is there. The minus 390 is there. The minus 164 for the Bengals is there. Tennessee Titans plus 165 is there. Commanders minus 138 plus 7.5 is there. Over 51.5 is 154. And the Steelers are, well, everything's there. What didn't add up? Ooh, it didn't add up exactly. All right, now I'm going line by line to see if my calculator's wrong. So the 25-cent one says 52.50 wager pays 4,068.75. That's exactly correct. Okay. Oh, I know what happened. It is right. Never mind. It is right. I always look at the wrong number. It was this number that was given to you. It's fine. It's right. Yep. So that is the wager for Christmas Eve. Good luck, everybody. May all your picks be winning. And may all your football be enjoyable to watch.